600, just fantastic to see. And yes indeed, Jaden Carrick, so disappointed after his fall, had the opportunity to talk to him over his lunch break, absolutely gutted, said yeah, he just made the mistake, paid the price. But it is, of course, so much as we know on the edge. This is Timaru Yamaha sponsored Supersport 600 Racing, looking for the lights, and away to a great start there. Who was it? John Ross. John Ross, a fantastic start. So John, pleased with his performance, although he says things still not perfect for him, and it's always good when you're trying to achieve the ultimate aim, but he's certainly got to be pleased. He's now got 29. I said, hey, you've got a full race, so 29 points, there's only 25 awarded for a win, so if he wasn't to finish in a race and somebody else behind him was, then it wouldn't mean he would lose his points. So, but he says, no, I want to do that 4 times over, so I always like somebody who keeps on aiming higher and higher. So this Timaru Yamaha Supersport 600, looking all of the class that we've witnessed so far. So Jaden Carrick, John Ross, Toby Summers, Alistair Hugenbosom, it proved to be our stars today, but I tell you what, Jaden Carrick has not been able to just get that winning formula in the end, but he has certainly had a leading formula. He's probably led more laps than any of the other riders, but hasn't gone on to win those races, so he needs to be doing that. Looks like we've got John Ross there already for the front. Nice run for the Repsol Suzuki man, so starting to make the changes and make them stick and make them count for the Repsol Suzuki. Holland's Collision Centre, Race Supplies, Restarace and Dyno Works bike, so looking good. The number one, it's on the bike, it's the current champion, and nice to see. There we go, Canterbury, and then with Alistair Hugenbosom up there, Jaden Carrick, the Wanganui Hotshot on the GJ Gardner Homes, Wanganui Toyota, Suzuki GSXR 600 ahead of Toby Summers, Rhys Soames, Adam Chambers, Cameron Hudson, this young star out of Canterbury, putting his name in amongst some well-repaired names like Daniel Medham and Jeremy Holmes, James Hugenbosom, some who are behind him. Over the lunch break, took an opportunity to purchase the fantastic Avalon Biddle calendar. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd firmly encourage you to do that. Why? Well, you need a calendar. We all need to know what day of the week it is. Got some fantastic motorcycle photos, and those of Avalon, but more importantly, $20 is all the cost, and it is supporting Avalon in her aim and ambitions to return to the European race campaign for the up-and-coming season. So $20, a mere bit of money you can spend. So if you want more details, go to avalonbiddleracing.co.nz, and a bit of dust to fly, Spider.
Hey, there's all action and plenty. It's I've watched our Hugenbosom there. He went from 4th to 3rd off that back straight there, 3rd to 2nd, and now he's in the front. He's out in the front of John Ross there, and mate, that's a country mile and 600 class at the moment, but he won't relax on that. He's probably got 60 metres where Jaden Carrick slipped down to 3rd. Toby Summers has come through. Rhys Soames, after a big crash last time, has come through there as well. I think that's Adam Chambers from the Wolfpack Racing CBR 600. So right now we got Suzuki, and then we go back to Suzuki, and then the Yamaha of 77, and then the Yamaha and then a Honda, but the Honda's flying through there as they go down the back straight.
No Seth Devereaux, so Seth's the rider that's missing, and with a bit of dust we put 2 and 2 together. It was Seth last time, so that potentially is the rider that we've got missing off the racetrack. So no Seth Devereaux to come past the lap.
No, Seth's out there right at the end of the trail.
Oh, good. Oh, great news. Oh, thank you for that. All right, so somebody else has we got. Maybe it was one of those dust clouds from yesterday whereby we had a rider with their wheels off the track and out onto the dry summer's dirt of South Canterbury to show us a little bit of dust, but I thought it was a little bit more than that. But great news is we appear to have then most of the front runners, and Al Hugenbosom, absolutely sensational to be doing this in our Timaru Yamaha Supersport 600 lineup, because he has blasted his way through the front, and look at that, a nice little bumper as well, probably what 6 or 7 bike lengths in there. Al Hugenbosom in front, go to John Ross, then looking up to Jaden Carrick, and then go to Toby Summers. Adam Chambers, Wolfpack Racing, moving up into 5th ahead of Rhys Soames. What a recovery from Rhys Soames. He went down in the last one, and his bike, I tell you what, handlebar side broken, shattered a bit, so some good recovery by the John Tuhoe Racing team to get him back on track and out there to race, and looks like he's lost nothing today to regain his confidence and get back on the racetrack as they head up the awesome Alpine Energy Super Straight here at Timaru's International Raceway.
Lovely ride there for young Aaron San too. I think their bike dropped a valve earlier in the season before the Suzuki series, so they went out and bought Jake Lewis's spare bike, so that said, of course, Jake had a drop valve, so between the two of them they couldn't do the championship. Obviously Aaron's got the bike, so a good ride there on the number 14 bike coming through from about 6 or 7. We look over the hairpin, and it is our Hugenbosoms, maybe 10 bike lengths. He had a better lead a lap or so ago, but John Ross is fighting back, and I think maybe Toby Summers got through there into 3rd. Indeed it is, Toby Summers has got through there into 3rd, over and above Jaden Carrick. Adam Chambers is part of that check, and so is number 47, the John Tuhoe sponsored Rhys Soames. Now this man came from 8th through to 1st in a dry race last year, so he's got the equipment there to do it and the riding skill. I can't see who that rider is there. Might be
Cameron Hudson.
Cameron Hudson,
yeah,
and then Jeremy Holmes from Invercargill.
Fantastic ride by Cameron Spider. I'm loving this performance, so well done. Another one of our young guns, so out to perform and doing it oh so well. So keep your eye on them, folks. On the race supplies, Metzler, Forbes and Davies, Trevor Pierce, Yamaha, Warren's Aerials and Telephones and Budget Motorcycle Spare supported Yamaha R6. So Cameron Hudson making it happen. Another young gun that's come through from our development lineup and showing his excellence on the racetrack. So nice to see. Timaru Yamaha Supersport 600 Racing, and at the front it's the Canterbury Hotshots that lead it, but Al Hugenbosom in a class of his own, a place of his own. John Ross doing all the right things now. John realises where he is in the racetrack. He'll know Al's in front of him. Al is not a threat to his point, so he doesn't have to do anything silly. And remembering, of course, the extended race duration, this is a 15 lapper. Up till now they've only done 10s. One yesterday and the one this morning, only a 10 lapper, so 15 more tougher, more demanding than we'd otherwise have seen from these riders. And a nice one, a 3, then a slight back gap back, then a 5, there we go, 6, 7, 8, pass as quick as that, and it's a long gap. So certainly do our top 8. We want to cover all the way back to Jeremy Holmes in there, so good work. And Spider, a new fastest rider out there.
Oh yeah, Jaden Carrick sitting there in 4th place. He was an early leader in that. Now he's slipped back to 4th, but he is the fastest man, so he's behind Toby Summers on the R&R Power Sports sponsored Summers Plumbers number 77, but Jaden's the fastest man. We've still got our Hugenbosom out in the front. There's probably 5 bike lengths in, and that's not much at 260 k's an hour as they go down the John Stones corner, and oh man, magical. But John Ross has got plenty of points, but he still wants the win here to solidify his championship chances.
Yeah, great to watch. You're right. They go to a curve called McKissick. It goes ever decreasing round in a circle. If you stand back at John Jones, the corner goes perfectly like the question mark. You would see how it loops back and almost comes round onto itself with a safety wall between the two parts of the track. They're close enough together. So it's just a fantastic tighter as it turns and comes right around. Then they go, of course, into a right-handed hairpin after the big, beautiful left-hand corner. So spectacular part of the circuit, and a great circuit here in the home of racing at Levels for this Timaru International Raceway.
Great little battle there about 8th place for Reese Holmes, 47 Cameron Hudson, and that is Jeremy Holmes as well. That's a sensational little battle. I see that Jaden Carrick is right now on the tail of number 77 Toby Summers. Expect Adam Chambers through to come through. I think he can join this back. Last weekend he had a whole radio, a bike overheated. He got out of the slipstream, used his brains, got out of the slipstream. It didn't stop it, and they found a whole radiator, and Adam said he would have had no trouble fronting those leaders. So he's in 5th, but not too far off that pack of 4.
Seth's moved up 3 places. He's in there now to 16th, so he's 1 placing away from scoring a point. We've got Shane Richardson in the 14th after he scored a 12th and in a 14th yesterday. Ashley Payne one in front of him. James Hugenbosom back at the 11th. Then is Aaron Hassan as we work backwards because Avalon Biddle has now made it into that top 10 with a fine race result to give her the credibility up there. And as we talked about, you've all got to support $20, folks. If you're out there, avalonbiddleracing.co.nz and get one of these fantastic $20 calendars. Get it out here, calendars, because you've got some beautiful photos, and of course the excellence of a calendar, and one to hang up with pride because they are some fantastic photos. And Avalon would like to thank the many photographers because she found all these photos and was able to secure them when she told them that she was fundraising for a calendar. So thank you to all those photographers. They are some great shots of both her and her racing and her behind the scenes as well, like a neat one sitting at home on a pile of tyres. Just another great photo. So you'll love the photos, you'll love the calendar, but more importantly, $20 if you can't even get a decent calendar for that. And of course, oh, there's one of them to overshoot on John Jones. Toby Summers to overshoot there. So back to the calendar and support Avalon Biddle Racing. This fantastic 21-year-old, 21 on her number as well, as she makes another assault and hopefully to get into that women's racing scene again, as she has done so well over in Europe. So well done. All right, back we go. This is the Hugenbosom excellence as well, and come on, there's got to be some credit out here because this is just absolutely amazing and great to see. Can he do it again? Al Hugenbosom, courtesy of Suzuki Dunlop Revit, Clyde Barrington Construction Race Supplies, Shots, Arcade Chain, Elfin Vizayas. So there he goes, and again that little bit of a buffer, nice to watch. 43 to go, then the 1, then to Jaden Carrick who's closed it up. Toby Summers well back in there. Adam Summers would have given him a breath. This is the 8th lap, Spider, and Jaden Carrick still that fastest lap way back on 5.
Yeah, he led the race quite a bit last race. Unfortunately, had a crash here at Castor. He said he just lost concentration passing a lap rider, so he's got a little bit of egg on his face. He wants that win. They all want that win. Toby Summers went right round the outside of him on the John Jones steel corner, but had to sit up and almost run off in the dirt, so he slipped off to a distant fourth, but he'll be on fire. In fact, we won't check the lap times there because that was the lap that he made that mistake on, but certainly he'll be on fire trying to claw that back. The Yamaha doesn't seem to have the drive out of the hairpin either. Only loses 2 or 3 bike lengths, but at this level of the racing, that's a lot.
Well, indeed, keeping our eyes on Seth Devereux at the moment. He's moved there to 14th place. That's put Shane Richardson to 15th, so back one. So Seth moving his way up. Obviously a disappointing start. So he has made up some good ground, but remembering here last year in the wet, it was the Seth Devereux show. Seth's supported by Dwayne Service Centre. Dwayne Service Centre from the heart of northern Southland, a beautiful rural region down here in Southland and the South Island. And Dwayne Service Centre out of Tapanui at home with the support of Seth Devereux. And a big thanks, of course, for that Dwayne, the service centre supported Seth's bike, the Kawasaki ZX10, also supported by Norjo. So great work for Seth out there, but only 14th place. He's got some work to do to catch up to them, Spider. That group just starting to spread out. And I'll tell you what, I don't think John Ross necessarily has not got an answer. I think it's more the fact he's now using his head and realising with 29 points, all he's got to do is play the game. And second is a damn good game. And hey, who knows if he wants to make the perfect score and make the pounce later in the race and score the double. But more importantly, the points of Al is not a threat, so he stays back behind him. Great riding, great thinking. Well done, Repsol Suzuki. Go, John Ross.
Great race there in the midfield there by Aaron Hassan and Daniel Medham. They're having a good old ding-dong. Yamaha versus Honda. They disappear out of sight, but they're having a good old mess of it. Hello, we've got a huge change in the front two there. No change in position on the track as far as 1-2, but certainly John Ross got a flyer there of the lap, or maybe Al made a little mistake. We're joined up here by Dylan Jeffries, number 16, Dad Graham. You're watching this front page. You got your money on anybody? And welcome.
Yeah, I quite like the way Toby's performing actually, you know, for his first season in the Super Sport. He's doing really well.
And how's your young fella going? Had a crash last weekend, decided not to go home. He's out at the tail end of the field, but he's got a big smile on his dial.
Yeah, he has actually. He did a good time, got down to a 10. That's all he sort of wanted to achieve this weekend. His elbow's given him a little bit of grief, but yeah, he's sticking with it, and I think he's doing a great job.
Good to see you enjoying the New Zealand Superbike Championships for your first full season.
He's welcome on board.
We'll see you up north.
And Dad's even got the sponsor shirt on as well to make sure. That's right, we'll get double exposure for L-foils, and we're proud to mention him as well. So thanks to the Jeffries family. And remembering, Spider, we don't want these 10-rider racings like we can remember from 3 or 4 years ago. These are now, we're talking 18 and 20-odd riders in the field, and as been the biggest comment that's being made, and if you have a look at race results, whether you're online or can look back afterwards, we're not getting the lapping, we're not getting those lap riders in the way. So riders like Dylan might be well back in results, but they're still on the same lap as the winners by the end of the race. It's superb.
Well, 11 laps down. 2 laps ago, Neil said they were spreading out, which is correct. There was probably 40, 60 metres between first and second and third and fourth. Now there's not 20 metres between those whole 4 bikes there. It is still our bosom. John Ross goes for the drive there. Don't forget Jaden Carrick's there, and that flying Yamaha down that back straight seems to have the legs down the back straight. He's going up on the outside. He's tried on the outside before. Going into third place. That's it. That's the corner. He made a mistake a couple of laps ago, so Toby Summers has got that one lucky. His wife Kirsten will be sitting at home there cheering for Toby Summers. He's back up to third. What a legend.
It is fantastic today, and how many good moves we've seen on the outside, Spider, because we've seen so many try the inside and not get it right. I would sure that Jaden that time would have been quite a surprise to have him on his right-hand shoulder instead of his left, and then he's made the pounce and gone through, and as Spider called it, and as we're watching it here at the moment, there's just a handful of bike lengths from first back to fourth place. It's super fast and super exciting. After all, it's Super Sport racing. Alistair Hugenboosum from Christchurch, John Ross from Christchurch, Toby Summers from Manukau, Auckland City, and Jaden Carrick from Wanganui on their GJ Gardner's home machine. And as we talked about it before, that they hadn't been lapping, that was with the 10 lappers. This is a 15, and this is now lap number 12 they've just done, so only 3 to go at this point, and they've now caught up to back market, just making a difference there. And the back market does the right thing, says, hey guys, you're racing, I'm getting right out of your way. Well done, well done. And there we go. So look at that. And Al Hugenboosum Hoogenboozem has made the most of it for sure. He's just powered his way out of the curve. He was the first one to come up on that back marker, but he tucked quickly through on the S, and that meant that the others had to more find it out on the tighter curve and the sweep away. So I'll tell you what, Alistair has made that into the winning post, and I'll be keen to know whether John's really going to push him or whether it doesn't really matter that Al has that victory from a John Ross point of view, because maybe it's that fine line between trying to give it a go. It's far too early in the season. This is only the halfway mark. This is now race number 6 of 12 of this championship. Oh, sorry, there'll be the extra race at the final round, won't there, to make it a odd number and not an even number. So that's the extended points and extended racing for Manfield in the final on the last weekend of March this year, as we take a break after today for the next 2 months before we join with racing again at Taupo up in the North Island for round number 3 of this Bridgestone Showy NZSBK Superbike Championships. Spider.
Well, I sat down and had a beer with Dylan and Graham Jeffries last night. Graham was just talking to us and that, and watched their onboard footage. Well, I'm going to go straight back to that pits tonight, because he did all the right things as a back marker, didn't affect anything there, he didn't change his position. That's very mature riding, but I want to see the footage from his bike when there's 1, 2, 3, 4, Al Hoogenboozem, John Ross, Toby Summers and Jaden Carrick fast. And so
Jaden Carrick's still that fastest time, Spider, that 105.7, so those guys that just get the idea, that's a little bit slower. I think with the 4 of them, as tightly bunched as they are, you sometimes don't get a lap record out of that kind of racing, because they're all checking each other out and they're much closer together. So no lap records there at the moment, or hasn't been for a while. That's since 2 years ago. And there's the 600 race, the best of them at the moment with Jaden Carrick, and he's over a minute and 0.7 outside that lap record. So last time it was 104.9. They're now only doing 105.7, so they're 0.8 slower than Jaden Carrick was in the last race.
Well, tough conditions at the beginning of lunchtime. I checked the track temperature, it was 27 degrees. When the lunch was over, it went up all the way up to 35 degrees, and that just makes it hard to try and select your cold tyre pressure, although most of these bikes are on the tyre warmers. But that certainly changes the game on this morning's race and yesterday's race, where it was in the mid-20s. Al Hoogenboozem coming out of that big sweeper onto the front straight, but it seems to be John Ross has got the drive there. They come across the back marker, no problem now. I think that's number 23, Rex Munchie.
Yes.
And the other two go past them all in safe form. 77, Toby Summers. Was that a change for the lead, Neil?
Oh, I don't know. In fact, I was just looking for a minute. I think it was. And, yes, it was. Yes, indeed, it was. I thought it was. And again, I don't know. Well, he wouldn't have seen it because Toby Summers was behind John Ross. But John Ross again on the outside. We've seen so many overtaking manoeuvres going to the inside, as you would think to do on a corner that sweeps around to the left-hand side. But both of the two prestigious manoeuvres that we've watched, Toby Summers over Jaden Carrick and John Ross over Al Hoogenboozem, have been around the outside of this John Jones Steel Corner. Go into the Timaru International Raceway, folks, if you're out there, and have a look at the circuit. It is absolutely beautiful. In particular, that corner, the John Jones Steel Corner. It's one of my favourite corners on New Zealand road racing circuits. It's just a corner of art. There's the cheer flag. Well done. It all happened on the last lap. How good, how fast, how exciting. That's the 15 lap, but John Ross has done it on the last lap. Al Hoogenboozem robbed of a chance of glory, but hey, I'm sure he'll realise he was beaten by the better, and well done to Al. A fantastic second place, but if it's anything like the Robert Holden Spider, as we know, you get bonus for leading every lap, and of course Nick Cole got every one of those bonuses at the Robert Holden at Spongy Cemetery Circuit back on Boxing Day, because he did do exactly that, led every lap. So John Ross, Alistair Hoogenboozem, Toby Summers,